Hi, this is Shayna with Against the Grain Homestead. Welcome to part of my pantry. In this video, I'm going to show you what we keep in our pantry. However, I'm not going to do it like you see the normal everyday pantry tours. We are not going to go through every area. We are not going to go through everything. We don't feel comfortable sharing everything. So we're just going to show you some things that we do keep. And I might turn the camera here and there. You might see a little bit of different backgrounds, but like I said, we do not feel comfortable showing and sharing everything. But I did want to do some version of a pantry tour video with you because one thing I have always noticed when it comes to pantry tours is I've never seen anyone that has a pantry exactly like mine, and some people come close, but most people have it nothing like mine. So much so that I have thought in the past, maybe something's wrong with me. If everyone else has it like this and mine is completely different, then I must be doing something wrong. I am not. Each family is different as to what they eat, how they cook, what they choose to store, where they choose to store it, their own convenience, things like that. So I wanted to go ahead and share this with you in case you were like that as well, and you think maybe your pantry isn't right because that's not what you see other people doing, and maybe yours is like mine. I just want to show you, how we do it, and maybe give you some things to think about. This room you've never seen before, and like I said, you're not going to see everything. This room is about a 9 by 14. There are no windows. There's no natural light of any kind. There's no heating or air ducts that come into this room. There is a duct that, sucks air out to go through the, HVAC unit, but there's nothing coming in. There is one overhead ceiling fan with a light, and then we do have one more light in the closet area of this room. In this room, it stays between 55 and 65 degrees at all times, usually right at 60, 62. This room is our supply room. I call it our pantry because that's what I use it for, but it has all kinds of other things as well. But in this video, we're just going to talk about the actual food items. Let's start off by saying some of the things that you will not find in our pantry, and also why we don't choose to store those things. So I have a list of just some of the items that you will see in most people's pantries that you will not find in ours. The way that we cook, the foods that we eat, the way that we cook, the way that we store things, this is how we've been doing it for 15 years now. I need to take a second to clarify something. When I say we've been doing this for 15 years, this that I mean is actual, like, the food stock, okay? Storing food this way, like method of storing things, that's what I'm talking about for the 15 years. This is specific to our family. You have to store what your family likes, what you can afford, what your family eats, the way that you cook. But this is just specific to us, okay? Every family is different. So I have a list. So some things that you will not find in our pantry, and again, these are just some things. There might be a whole lot more that you will not find in our pantry. You will not find pasta of any kind, canned soups, including condensed cream of soups. You won't find any Rotel, enchilada sauce, special cut tomatoes like diced tomatoes or crushed tomatoes. You won't find salsa, usually not even home canned salsa. However, I do have some this year because that's another story. But you won't find store-bought salsa either. Tomato sauce, pizza sauce, pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce. You won't find that. You will not find any seasoning packets or packages such as chili seasoning, taco seasoning, or any of the other ones that might be out there. Those little ranch, Hidden Valley Ranch packets. You won't find any seasoning mixes of any kind. You won't find any baking powder, snack cakes, which includes, chips, granola bars, any, grab and go thing. You won't find that. You won't find cereals or salad dressings or barbecue sauces, Hershey's chocolate syrup. You won't find anything like that. And also you will not find hot cocoa mix or brown sugar or pancake syrup. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things that many people have you will not find in our pantry. The number one reason you will not find any of that stuff is because everything on there we make as needed, and we make all of our stuff completely from scratch using the bare minimum ingredients. So I am of the mindset that I like to store as few individual items as possible in order to use those few individual items to make everything. We store single ingredient items, and it's really just a very few. I home can whole tomatoes. Now, if some of these tomatoes are too big, then I'll quarter them up, but I home can our own tomatoes. And that is it. This is the tomato product that I can and that I keep in stock. Tomatoes are a staple in our home. We use tomatoes very often. So in this space, I actually don't have enough room to store our year of tomatoes. So it's kind of funny, but our year of tomatoes is actually stored under our guest bed. It's a queen size bed, and under that is all tomatoes for our year. But just a quick little thing, any of those tomato products that I named off that we don't buy, we don't even can, I can make from this in just a matter, some is just a matter of seconds, and some is just a matter of like 5 minutes or less. Every tomato product I need, I can make directly from this in a very short amount of time. And we've been doing this forever. Like I said, we cannot show you everything, but this door here, this is the door that we walk into to get into this room. And I'll just give you a quick little overview of some of the stuff here. And that is as far as I can go. Okay, now, so I'll just kind of quickly highlight here. So you see we have this wraparound curtain there, which is just I think it's a king size bed sheet I just cut. And then right here we have another curtain that's on a strip of wire. So we pull the curtain either direction. So that has a lot of stock in it as well. And there's stock here under this table and some over there. And then there is also, hopefully I can, and right behind these glass doors is a large closet. It's actually not really a closet, but I think it's about 4 foot wide and 14 feet long, and it has more stock. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you some things that we keep in stock. First up is our meats. Some meats that we keep canned in stock is canned salmon, but we also have fresh frozen salmon, and we prefer that, but we do keep some of this in stock. Canned tuna, canned chicken. So I take the chickens out of the freezer, cook them down, and then we pressure can them. And then once the chicken is done, then I take it off the bone. Then I cook the bones down and can that for chicken broth. Okay, so we also keep chicken broth. Now, even though we can chicken, I do like to keep store-bought canned chicken as well. Okay, and on all of our store-bought cans of anything, whether they come in cans or plastic containers, we always put the best by date. I don't worry about the actual date. I just do the month and the year that it says it's best by. Okay, and then we rotate. These dates on these cans, they are just a best by. They are a recommendation. They have to list a best by date. Whenever that date happens, that food is not magically bad for you. It's not magically spoiled like the day before. It's still great, and the day of or the day after, somehow magically, it's now bad. That is not the case. This is just a recommended best by date as far as, retaining the nutrients and stuff goes. And we also make our vegetable broth as well. Now, currently in our deep freeze, that's where we actually keep the bulk of our meat. So we make an annual purchase for beef and hogs. And then, we also have deer and chicken as well. I would personally like to get back into meat rabbits again. We did that a few years ago, and then we quit when we moved up here, and we just haven't got back into it yet. I usually have some beef broth, you know, canned up as well, but I haven't got around to getting all those bones out and doing that. So we also keep some potatoes, canned potatoes in stock. So I can about 200 pounds of potatoes a year. I pressure can potatoes, and so this particular one, and I have some jars that have the skin on them. The skin was so very thin I could just ruffle it easily with my fingernail, so I just left the skin on. And these are all pressure canned. And then I had some that I just took the skin off. Again, these are pressure canned. This is from the same batch. I do have a video on how to pressure can potatoes. So the rest of the stuff I'm going to show you is all on this storage unit, and I am literally going to pull one of each item off of the shelf and show you what we keep in stock. Okay, and if there's any special little notes about it, I'll go ahead and mention that as well. We keep about 2 boxes of crackers in stock. So this would normally not be enough for a year, but it might be for us. We eat crackers and chili and soup, and that is it. So we really don't go through that many crackers, but I do keep a couple boxes in stock because if I have time and we want crackers, I will go ahead and I'll make crackers from scratch. Okay, but so because I know how to make them and I can make them, we only just keep a couple boxes in stock just in case for those days that I don't have time to make crackers, or, you know, whatever. I like having a couple boxes in stock. We keep a couple jars of instant coffee because I need coffee. Now, but that is like emergency type coffee because we do keep actual coffee in stock. These are coffee beans, okay? So we do not use a drip coffee maker. Instead, we use a French press and we grind our own coffee beans and have our coffee that way. So I do keep our coffee in stock. Now, also coffee related are these unbleached, more natural looking coffee filters. So like I said, we don't use a drip coffee maker, but we still keep these in stock because they come in handy for so many things. My husband makes cold brew coffee for himself, but then also for herbal medicine, straining, like all kinds of stuff. These are indispensable. We keep jugs of olive oil, and we keep some vodka, some alcohol in stock. We do not drink. No, we don't. But we do make our own herbal medicine and our own vanilla extracts and peppermint extracts, and, you know, anything that you need vodka or alcohol for, we make. So we do keep a vodka and then the Everclear in stock. We go through about 4 to 5 gallons of coconut oil a year, so we keep these in stock. We don't go through very much green top sugar cans of Parmesan cheese at all. We do keep a couple of these in stock anyway. Now, as far as garlic goes, we keep fresh garlic in stock. And garlic powder as well. But I do like having a couple jars of minced garlic too. We keep some calcium hydroxide in stock, and this is what we use when we water glass our farm fresh eggs. I do have an article on how to do that. Okay, and then here's some jugs that we keep in stock. We keep a gallon of blackstrap molasses, and this lasts us I think a couple years. We keep Kikkoman soy sauce, and we bought this about 3 years ago, so you can see we don't use a whole lot of it. We keep a jug of Worcestershire sauce. This will last us for several years. We keep a gallon of Wright's Hickory Smoke liquid smoke on hand. This 1 gallon, it's about half empty, and it is about probably 3 years old now. We also keep my husband's gallon jug of habanero hot sauce. This is his absolute favorite hot sauce. He really needs to get around to making his again. We have all those habaneros in the freezer, so he'll do that at some point. But we do keep this, and this is probably 5 years old. Okay. We also keep apple cider vinegar in stock. I also keep white distilled vinegar in stock too, but it's not in this room. So we keep raw apple cider vinegar, and then I just keep about a gallon or two of that just to have, because I also make our own homemade vinegar as well. So we have this in the other part of this room. I do have some lard that I rendered down. I have a video and an article on this. However, we don't actually use this anymore. Our youngest is allergic to pork, but my oldest uses it, you know, for her skin and her leather working. We also keep lemon juice in stock, primarily for canning. We keep lime juice in stock, primarily for salsa. We also keep some containers of peanut butter as well. But another thing that we do when we can find it for a good sale price is, so right here is a 30-pound bucket of peanut butter, and the ingredients for this peanut butter, they are just peanuts. That is it, just peanuts. So when we find it on sale and we can swing it that time, we prefer to buy our peanut butter in bulk. Usually a tub this size will last us almost a year, I think 9 months maybe. So we really prefer to buy it in bulk this way. It saves money. So let's talk milk products. So for our milk, we don't have any problem making our weekly milk run, and we buy our fresh, farm fresh milk each week. However, I do like to keep some milk powder or instant milk in stock for a good amount of time, just in case, okay? We don't use this, but we have it just in case. Now, something that I want to go ahead and mention is I looked up a lot on the actual shelf life of this type of milk. And even from the government sources and different types of sources, I found that they said as long as it stays in its original packaging and it's in a cool, dry place, that it can actually last 2 to 10 years, if not more, past its best by date. Another thing, in case it's needed, I like to keep a few cans of evaporated milk on hand. Now, this, again, can be used as a milk replacement, although it's not too tasty. But I have used this in the past when making like our Alfredo sauce. I keep sweetened condensed milk. I do like to keep 12. This coconut milk is something new. I literally just picked it up a couple weeks ago. I bought a flat of it and put it on the shelf. We've only used it a couple times. We don't really use coconut milk, but it was a really good sale price and I just wanted to put it on the shelf. So there you go. But that's not something that we actually keep in stock, okay, like these other things are. Okay, let's talk about canned fruit, whether home canned or store-bought canned fruit. We do have about 18 store-bought cans, whether it's pears, peaches, pineapples. We have about 18 of these cans. Some of them are a couple years past their best by date, simply because we do not really care for canned fruit. We like fresh fruit or frozen fruit. So we always have fresh fruit and frozen fruit in stock. But we just have some of these, and like I said, some of them are a couple years past their best by date. We just don't use canned fruit. But even though it's not something we keep in stock, it is here, so I'm trying to show you everything. So you saw my husband's favorite hot sauce. Mine is just plain Louisiana. It's just so good. So we do keep about 6 bottles of this in stock for the year. All right, let's talk about condiments, okay? First off, this is what we call our luxury condiment. This is hot and spicy mustard with horseradish. We actually only keep 1 bottle in stock. We have 1 bottle in the fridge and the other, we keep in stock. My husband loves this. We don't go through very much of it at all because we do not have sandwiches. Like if we have sandwiches, it's like a special thing. We don't have sandwiches. We don't have hot dogs unless it's a special thing because those real hot dogs are kind of expensive. So we don't have hot dogs. We have burgers not very often. So there's really no opportunity to actually use condiments in our house. But when we do, he loves this, which we all actually love it, but so we do keep one bottle of that. Now, for the most common condiments, we buy mustard, but we just keep a couple bottles of it because, again, we don't use many condiments at all. But I can also make this, and I have made this before. Mayonnaise is another one. We don't buy what's called salad dressing or Miracle Whip. We just buy straight mayonnaise. But we only keep a couple of these in stock as well because I do make it. Now, ketchup. This is something I can make. This is something I have made. I think it was probably 12 years ago or 13 years ago when I first made our own ketchup. And you know, it's work. It's work. And considering that we don't use very much ketchup at all, to me, it's just not worth it. So I'd rather buy it. However, all those years ago, I did make it because there was no healthier options at the stores at that time, but now there is. So we do buy our ketchup. I do keep some bottles of Dijon mustard in stock. I used to have a reason, but I forget what that reason is, so I guess I don't do that anymore. Anyway, but they're still there. These next things, they should move fairly fast. We do keep quite a bit of salt on hand. So I have quite a few of these bottles, as well as this container of salt as well. What we primarily use the plain white table salt for is when we get a deer, we use that to flush out all the blood, and it soaks in the heavy salt water and ice and cold water for almost a week, but each day we're flushing it out with new cold salted water. That helps to flush out the blood and helps to remove the gamey taste. So that's really the only thing we use the white salt for. We also keep Redmond real salt, you know, the pink salt. We also keep the canning and pickling salt. You can with the Redmond real salt, and I have in the past. However, as long as I can get this salt, this is what I prefer to use because this is so much cheaper than canning with the Redmond real salt. I also keep quite a bit of baking soda because it's not just for cooking. I also clean with it, and it's also used in healthcare as well. We keep some extra virgin olive oil. So you saw the coconut oil, the regular olive oil. Here's extra virgin olive oil. And I also like to keep a couple boxes of kosher salt. We also keep baking cocoa powder in stock. So this is an old coconut container. So how I do our baking powder is I buy bulk regular, like the natural colored baking powder, and then also the dark cocoa baking powder. And then I mix them, put them in this, and this is our larger size that we use to refill what's upstairs. And when this gets empty, we use from our bigger storage to redo in here. We have a large bucket that has our bulk baking cocoa powder. In that same bucket, we also keep some powdered sugar, our chocolate chips, including dark chocolate chips because that is important. And yes, you can make your own chocolate chips, and we have, and they are delicious. And in that same container, there's also cornstarch and my clear gel that I use for making our apple pie filling. Okay, so that's what's in that large container. Now, let's go over some of the things that the canned vegetables. So we also keep some green beans in stock. So you can have either store-bought green beans or your own home canned green beans. And I do have a video on canning green beans as well. We keep canned corn in stock. Some canned carrots. We only keep about half as many carrots as we do the corn and green beans. We're not huge fans of canned carrots. But I do have carrots growing in the garden, even though it's January. It's been in the negatives like all weekend. And we've had several killing freezes. I can still go if the ground thaws out some, and I can still harvest our carrots, but we prefer fresh carrots. But we do keep some canned carrots, whether home canned or store canned. We also keep chili beans. Okay, so a lot of those pantries, they like having their soups and their quick meals because, you know, they call it convenience. So some ask me, what is my convenience food? Canned beans. I really need to get back in the habit of canning my own beans again, but either way, canned beans, home canned beans, or store canned beans, this is our convenience. Okay, so in addition to the canned beans, we do keep bulk dried beans. We have bulk pinto beans, navy beans, and black beans as well. So we do keep those dried in stock. So when I just need something real quick, I use this. So we do not keep refried beans because any bean thing that we have ever needed, I can use black beans or these chili beans. So I turn these chili beans into our refried beans, no problem. And they actually have so much flavor and taste so much better than the store canned refried beans. Those just are so bland. But the way I do it with these, they're very flavorful. You can eat them by themselves. We don't keep many, but we do keep some black olives and some mushrooms in stock as well. And this is primarily for pizza. We don't really use it much for anything else, so we do keep some of these in stock. And like I showed you earlier, we do keep a lot of canned tomatoes in stock as well. Now, earlier when I talked about salsa and rotel, how we don't usually can those and we never buy them, it's because we do buy green chilies. So with these two, with the tomatoes and the green chilies, this is your rotel, and it's also your base for your salsa. So this area here is a cooler part of this room. We insulated it so it has a bare concrete floor, and this wall back there is a bare concrete wall. And then we went ahead and insulated everything that wasn't concrete with bubble wrap insulation. So I'll just show you some of the things that, I'll pull out some of the things that we keep on this side. We keep a lot of pickled okra, and I do have a video on this. So good. Apple pie filling. Isn't it beautiful? I really enjoy looking at the apple pie filling. It's such a beautiful color and it tastes wonderful. We keep some different types of pickles. Now, we don't actually have many types of pickles because we really do prefer pickled okra over pickles, so we don't really keep many pickles. But I do like the bread and butter pickles, and then we also have some dill pickle slices as well as some dill pickle, you know, the whole pickle as well. And you saw the green beans. Earlier I told you that we do not buy canned salsa, and I don't even home can salsa. Okay, this year, 2023, which this is January, so last year, 2023, I did can salsa. The reason for that was because we had so many tomatoes and so many peppers and just all that stuff, all those ingredients, that I had more than enough of plain tomatoes than I would need. So I decided, well, why not? We'll go ahead and can some salsa. So we did can some home salsa. Our killing freeze came earlier last year than it usually does. So when it came, I had so many green tomatoes that I had to harvest quickly before the killing freeze came. So because I had so many green tomatoes, I took those green tomatoes and I canned up some green tomato pickles. These are flavored with dill. I also canned up some spicy green pickled tomatoes. On both of these, the flavor is good, but the actual tomato, we're not a fan of the texture. It's a little soft, a little mushy for us, but it's perfectly fine. They'll still get used. So what we're going to do is just take them and, as we need them, mush them up into like a relish or to put on anything. I mean, it's, you know, drain them off, maybe throw them in a stew or something, you know, little bits at a time, of course. It'll be fine. They'll get used up. We also made some sweet green tomato relish. And I also grew tomatillos, so we made some salsa verde. But again, because we had so many extra green tomatoes, on some of my salsa verde, I combined our tomatillos with our green tomatoes. And salsa verde is so good. We also canned our pumpkin, and we canned our butternut squash. So you can see our butternut squash and then our pumpkin. Just so you know, pumpkin is actually a squash, but normally we just store our pumpkin and our squash, you know, down here in this area. But this year I wanted to go ahead and can it. So we did can our pumpkin and our squash. And you'll see on all these little cartons, I have names of what is in them. And we canned quite a few candied jalapenos. These are also called pickled jalapenos. Some people call them cowboy candy, although I'm not really sure why. I don't know, but they're just candied jalapenos. They are so delicious, especially on like a barbecue brisket pizza. So good. Or a barbecue pulled pork, like loose meat sandwich. So good. We also can apple jelly, which I have a video on this. Applesauce, again, I have a video on this. Now the videos for these two, they are pretty old videos, but we still do it the same way. Also canned some pear jelly as well. And I did can pear sauce, but my oldest daughter, she recently got married and she took all the pear sauce with her, and she thought she had all the pear jelly, but I just found it. We also keep our own homemade vanilla extract and some honey. We also have some dehydrated Italian flavored tomatoes. So these are like Italian flavored tomato chips. These are really, really good. Just like that, we have some plain dehydrated tomato chips. So these are not flavored. We have dehydrated tomato flakes. So I just pureed tomatoes and then dehydrated them. We also dehydrated our beets that we grew, some of them anyway, and I do believe I have a short little video on this. We dehydrated some of our poblano peppers. Aren't they beautiful? And then also some bell peppers, some yellow squash. I think I have a video on this, and some zucchini. Also some onions. They're just beautiful. And these onions, when they're dehydrated and you eat them, it's like a little snack. They have a subtle little sweetness to them. I like just to eat them. We also have some fermented lemons in there. Okay, I'm not going to show you, all of our 5-gallon buckets that we have here, there, and over there, but you know what a 5-gallon bucket looks like. Okay, so some of the things that we keep in our 5-gallon buckets are, we keep rolled oats and quick oats, wheat berries, I have my list, wheat berries, flour, salt, sugar, pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, brown rice, basmati rice, and we do have 1 bucket of white rice. The reason we just have 1 bucket of white rice is because we don't use white rice. I just wanted to get a bucket of white rice. Cornmeal, and that's all that I wrote down, so I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But those are what we keep in stock in the 5-gallon buckets. Now, if you're wondering how we keep them fresh, how we keep them from going rancid or bug infested, just a quick little thing. When I order from Azure Standard, and whenever I get the whenever I get the 50-pound bags in, I stick them in the freezer for about a week, and then I bring them out and let the bag, warm up to room temperature and let it sit at room temperature for about 3 to 5 days. And then we put it in the 5-gallon buckets. We do not use Mylar bags at all with any of our stuff. We have tried to use the oxygen absorbers in the past, but when you have these gamma lids like this, it's not 100% airtight, so it actually doesn't, the oxygen absorber bags don't actually work as well as if you had one of those really sealed lids. When we used to have those really sealed lids and you put the oxygen absorber in there, it would like cave in the sides of the bucket. because it like really sucked all the oxygen out very well. But for us, as often as we go through things and as often as we replace things, we have never had any bug infestation problem. We've never had any of our foods go rancid. We're not worried about it. Now I'm getting ready to share with you one of my favorite things that we keep in stock. And it's primarily my favorite because it smells so good. It just smells so good. It is this bucket right here. So I told you that we don't keep any chili seasoning, taco seasoning, any type of seasoning packets in stock at all. It is because every type of seasoning that we need, we can make ourselves by using individual herbs and spices. So this tote is our bulk herbs and spice. All that we need of all the different varieties for a year are in here. So this is what we use to refill what we have upstairs in the kitchen. Whew, it smells so good. Okay, so in here, well, let me turn the camera down. I'm not going to go through every herb and spice in here because there's just too many, but you get the kind of overview general idea. So we keep cream of tartar, ginger, turmeric, black pepper, basically everything. There's paprika, there's there's not oregano. Cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, ginger, parsley, coriander, minced onions. Now, most of this is bulk bought, and some of it is stuff that we have grown and put in here ourselves. Okay, so but this is like one of my favorite things. It just smells so good. Because there are so many things in there, what I did is on the underside of the lid, I wrote down all the things that we have in here and how many of each herb and spice we want to keep. The last little area I want to show you in this pantry are these shelves right here. So you just saw some of our bulk herbs and spices. Well, there's also some of them up here, and these are in bigger containers based on the ones that we go through most often. So I'm not going to go through every one of them, but just to give you an example, this is a gallon jar, and this is our chili powder. Okay, we go through quite a bit of chili powder, so because of that, it just makes more sense to have a big gallon size of it. Same way with garlic powder. That's something that we get into often. And, you know, the list continues with our oregano, you know, and so on, okay? So aside from the chili powder, garlic powder, and oregano, some other food items, mostly food items that we have on these shelves are turmeric and cream of tartar. Pretty much all the other jars up here is more for our apothecary, for our medicine. So we have beetroot powder right there. We have marshmallow root right there. Over here, in this area, we have dandelion, chicory, burdock. Here's some homegrown lavender. We have half a gallon of celery, some lemon balm, some dandelion flowers, stevia, yarrow flowers in a half gallon, and then yarrow leaves. We have some elderflowers. And you get the idea. Look at that, I'm starting to go through them all. Also, there's peppermint, spearmint, apple mint, echinacea, elderberry. There's some hyssop. There's some marshmallow leaves instead of just marshmallow root. There's chamomile, stinging nettles. So you get the idea. Many of those herbal plants or homegrown or foraged, you know. Okay, so if you are interested in our herbal medicine and our apothecary, I do have a video. It's a pretty old video, but it's basically the same. It's just current, like what it really is now has been expanded from that video, but the idea and location's pretty much the same. So I do have an apothecary video if you want to see more of that. So I think this is all to show you as far as the actual food stuff goes for our pantry and what we actually keep in stock. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do hope that, you know, if you were like me thinking, wow, something's wrong with me, you know, I'm not storing what everyone else seems to store. Do what works for you and your family. I mean, everyone is different. Like I said, this is how we've been doing it for 15 years. And what you see is actually what we use, how we cook, it's how we live. So, and this has been working for 15 years. So obviously I don't need to buy, you know, the canned soups or, you know, the canned sauces and things like that. This is what works for us. Okay, so do whatever works for your family. Be sure to check out any of those videos that you might be interested in on any of the things they pointed out that I have a video or an article on canning. And even though, you know, we have this, we do, like I said earlier, we have pretty much all of our meat in the freezer, and we do prefer fresh fruit and fresh vegetables, so we do keep those in stock, as well as some are even in the garden. Even right now in January with negative temperatures, multiple killing freezes, we still have kale, Swiss chard, and arugula growing in the garden, and we do have carrots, so we can harvest those and harvest the carrots as well. We also have some garlic out there. So just think, you know, while it's winter time, anyone at this time could be harvesting from their garden in the winter kale, arugula, Swiss chard, garlic, onions, carrots, potatoes, Brussels sprouts, maybe some cabbage. There's probably some other things out there that, you know, especially if they were like mulched heavy, that people could be harvesting in the dead of winter. That's pretty impressive. It is nice to have food in stock, fresh food, canned food, food out in the garden that you can still harvest in the winter. Buy what you use, you know, replace what you use, constantly rotate it so nothing's ever going bad. But I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.